Welcome back to Campfire Whispers, your daily fix of horror stories, unsolved mysteries, and straight-up unbelievable content. My name is Eki, and today I'm sharing a story called Nightmare in the Basement. There was something wrong with the basement. It wasn't the creaking steps or the damp concrete floor that made Nolan uneasy. It wasn't even the smell, though the sour, earthy scent of wet brick and mildew always hit him like a wall when he opened the door. It was something deeper, something older. The basement didn't feel like part of the house. The home had belonged to his uncle, a reclusive man named Walter, who'd passed away under strange circumstances. The coroner said heart failure, but the look in Walter's eyes in the final photograph, wide, wild, and bloodshot, told another story. Nolan had inherited the house and moved in 2 weeks ago. Everything upstairs had the stale, undisturbed air of a place forgotten. But the basement had been used. Recently, every time Nolan opened the door at the top of the stairs, he felt something rise to meet him, as if the air below shifted in anticipation. He hadn't set foot down there until the 6th night. The lights upstairs had begun flickering, and a strange humming sound, low, mechanical, was coming from the floorboards. He thought maybe a fuse box issue, or pipes. He grabbed a flashlight and descended. The light bulb in the stairwell had long since died. His feet echoed on each wooden step. At the bottom, the flashlight flickered, then steadied. The basement was larger than he remembered. Deeper, the kind of space that swallowed light. The humming stopped. He scanned the room. There were signs someone had been down there recently. A folding chair in the middle of the floor. Scratch tiles in a pattern that looked almost ritualistic. And in the far corner, an old, iron door he knew hadn't been there before. He approached it, breath shallow. The door was sealed with chains. Thick ones, fresh padlocks. And carved into the cement wall above, it were 3 words. "Don't let her out." Nolan stumbled backward. Who was her? He left the basement, locking the door behind him. That night, he couldn't sleep. Every creak, every whisper of wind felt like movement downstairs. He told himself it was the stress. The house was old. He was tired. He'd buried himself under the blankets and waited for daylight. The next morning, he checked the basement door again. Still locked. But something had changed. A smell, stronger now, sour and sweet, like rotting fruit and rust. And a faint sound, scratching. He pressed his ear to the wood. Silence. He called a locksmith that afternoon, asking about the padlocks. The man was baffled. Said they weren't on any registry. Not standard, he muttered. Looks custom. You'd need bolt cutters. Nolan didn't want to go that far. Not yet. Instead, he tried to forget. He avoided the basement. But the house didn't forget him. Over the next few days, things got worse. At night, the scratching returned. Then knocking. Once, around 3 a.m., Nolan swore he heard whispering. A woman's voice, faint but persistent, like someone speaking through water. "Let me out." He started sleeping with the lights on. He unplugged the TV when it began turning itself on, always to static. He taped the basement door shut. It didn't help. Then one night, he woke to find the basement door wide open. The tape lay shredded on the floor like peeled skin. The darkness beyond the doorway felt thicker, hungrier. And he saw her. Only a glimpse. A silhouette at the bottom of the stairs. A woman, tall, impossibly thin, her limbs too long, head tilted unnaturally sideways like a snapped branch. Her hair hung in wet ropes. Her eyes glowed faintly in the dark. Nolan slammed the door shut and pushed a bookcase against it. He didn't sleep. The next morning, the door was closed again. No sign it had ever been open. No woman. No trail. Just silence. But Nolan knew. She was awake now. He researched everything he could. Local legends. The house's history. He discovered that his uncle had once been part of an obscure group, an underground sect obsessed with binding spirits. They believed certain places could act as cages, that certain women, always described as hungry or wrong, could be lured and sealed but never destroyed. The group had all died within a year of each other. Suicide, illness, accidents. Walter had lasted the longest. In his final journal, one line stood out, scrawled in frantic ink. "The girl from the basement isn't a girl. She's older than the dirt. Don't look at her hands. Nolan tried to leave the house. His car wouldn't start. He called friends, but no one answered. Even his phone seemed cursed, text sent but never received. Screens flickering, maps that spun in circles. He was trapped. That night, the power went out. Complete darkness. Nolan lit every candle he could find. The house glowed in dim, quivering gold. But the light made the shadows move, made her more visible. She walked the hallways now. Slow, deliberate. Her face changed each time he saw her. Sometimes familiar, sometimes featureless, sometimes like his mother, which disturbed him more than anything. But it was her hands that truly broke him. They weren't hands. They were wrong, jointed backwards, too many fingers, nails like claws. She dragged them along the walls as she passed, leaving long, black smears like tar. Nolan started seeing her in mirrors, watching from behind, never moving, always smiling. He heard her whisper from the vents. She told him things, secrets about people he loved, things he should never know. She laughed when he cried. She told him the truth about Walter, about what he'd done to bind her. She told him how the seals were breaking, how Nolan's presence, his curiosity, had weakened them, how he was going to let her out. By the seventh night, Nolan was delirious. He hadn't eaten, barely slept. The candles were nearly gone. He sat on the couch, clutching a kitchen knife, eyes fixed on the hallway. She stood there, watching, not moving, and then she said something new. Come see what he left behind. Against all reason, Nolan stood. His body moved before his mind could stop it. He walked down the hallway, toward the basement door. The air grew thick, soupy with rot. He reached for the knob. It turned easily. The door swung open. Stairs led down into impossible darkness. Deeper than before. Steeper. He descended. The basement had changed. It was no longer a room. It was a cavern. Endless. The walls breathed. The chains on the door were broken. Gone. The altar beyond the door was lit with flickering fire. Candles that had no source. In the center lay a body. Walter's. Mummified. Mouth frozen in a scream. Eyes gouged out. And behind him, her. She rose from the shadows. Limbs bending wrong. Mouth splitting too wide. Her eyes were endless pits, and from them poured a sound. Not a scream, not a cry, but a memory. Nolan's memory. His first heartbreak. His father's funeral. Every regret he'd ever buried. She reached out. He ran. Up the stairs, through the house, out the door. Only he didn't make it far. The yard was gone. The world was gone. The house now stood in a void, surrounded by black. The stars above were wrong. Too many, too bright. They pulsed like watching eyes. And from every window, she watched him. Trapped. Forever. If you enjoyed this story, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Join me next time for more unbelievable tales on Campfire Whispers.